the one thing that came out really clearly was that Joe Lode, pro-charter schools. It was the single question he had to ask for the absent de Blasio. It was the constant theme of the night. It was probably the single subject matter where he was hitting every point, every message, at every stage of the way that he had the opportunity to, compared to Carry-On, who, when given the opportunity to say, would you allow school kids to take a half day to go take a march to show their support for charter schools, he tried very much to stay away from that question, whereas Lode said, absolutely yes, this, is important for them, this they feel strongly about, this is the way that it should be. So in a way, the march was just yesterday. He was very clear that he and his wife and his daughter were all there together. It seems like he's really holding on to this as a possible way to distinguish himself from the pack. Right, and he also mentioned that a recent poll that came out that had de Blasio well ahead also had New Yorkers expressing support for issues that, including charter schools, that Lode also says he has more than de Blasio. Nicole, do you think, though, that the charter school community is big enough and politically active enough to make a difference in this big gap in numbers that Lode has versus de Blasio? I mean, that's the question, is the rate at which charter schools have come onto the scene since Bloomberg took office representative of a groundswell of support, or is it not enough to, to put Lode back, in striking range of de Blasio? I don't know at this time if there's enough evidence to see if that's going to make the difference at the polls, but it seems that he's certainly, hoping that that might be the case.
Chris, who else was he talking to tonight? I mean, who are the kinds of people who could be persuaded to, not see de Blasio as a fait accompli and maybe look instead to someone like Joe Lode?
Sure. I mean, we've seen over the past 20 years and 5 mayoral elections that party seems to matter less in the city than it used to. Now, those were in times of a crime crisis, and then immediately after September 11th, we, for a lot of good reasons, lack that kind of urgency this time around. But he still realizes there are a lot of people out there who pulled other levers than the Democratic lever, who may be put off if he can, raise the scary prospect of de Blasio, the irresponsible, untested leftist. People who've done well, not just the charter school community, but a substantial middle-class community in the city that's enjoyed the benefits of lower crime under Bloomberg and the increased quality of life, the fact the city has done economically better through the most recent recession than a lot of places. He's trying to appeal to those folks who dislike Bloomberg on a personal level, but are by and large satisfied with where the city is these days.
And Deborah, briefly, because we have to take a quick break, but your thoughts on Carry-On's strategy tonight and whether he was successful in getting it? I mean, he's well down in polls as well and trying to get his name out as well.
Yeah, he's in double digits, and I thought it was really telling that both candidates, when their closing statements, repeatedly had to state their own names.
Right.
I mean, this is not just Carry-On's problem, although obviously the numbers have him down. He's got a base, but the problem is he's been disengaged from it for quite some time, and so he's got a lot of catch-up to do. I don't know that he actually managed that this time.
Eric, any thoughts on Carry-On strategy?
He wants to introduce himself. And he's going to do what politicians always do. He's going to repeat things that have worked for him in previous races. So you could feel that he had a rap, he had a set of issues that he was going to return to. And what happens when you haven't had a lot of these debates already in primary ones is you start just repeating points, like wiring the city again and again.
Okay, we'll get right back to that. Let's hear what you at home have to say in our Snap Poll. Use your remote control and hit the corresponding button, and you'll be able to vote on our question of the day. You'll need to have Time Warner Cable, and you have 45 seconds to vote. Here is the question. Should Bill de Blasio have participated in tonight's debate? Press A for yes, press B for no. We'll have the results at the end of the program, and we'll show you other ways you can have your voice heard by calling or emailing us. Time now for a quick break. We'll have more with our panel.